Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. This is the best place to hang out. All the cool kids hang out here every Wednesday night. So thanks everyone for joining us live, or if you listen later on, thanks a lot. I am joined by my usual cohorts. I have Scott,
Shemai, everyone, how you doing?
and I've got Shane.
Oh, hoy hoy.
I'm guessing by your names, like did you think this book was really long, really stretched out, or something like that? Is that
Mate,
weird? Weird with that?
considering that every other book we read is either 4 to 6 issues long, and you've more than doubled that with this pick, it was long.
It's quality, I suppose. Doesn't really matter how long it's going to be. So we are reading, or we had read, and we are discussing this week. This is Batman: The Long Halloween. This was written by Jeb Loeb, an artist Tim Sale, and colorist Gregory Wright, and letterer Richard Starkings. Starkings, nice. That's a good name. I like that.
Pull up your stockings.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining us. Just to let everyone know who's watching live tonight that we have no idea what we're going to be reading next week, and that is now down to you, the viewers here in the show. At the end of the show, after we discuss this book, give the scores. It's going to be your decision. What are we reading next week? Let us know at that time, and we'll pick that book. And it doesn't have to be Batman themed. It can be if you want to be, but again, we'll just see what comes up. Because I mean, I know these two are Batman outed.
We're done.
You're done. Whereas
I'm done.
I could read Batman for the rest of my life and be happy.
I
But
thought I was
this,
gonna when I started this.
we're going to go off to a bad start here, aren't we, Shane? Goodness me, how do you boot him out? Anyway, we'll see who's joined us live tonight. In the chat, we have the Funky Gibbons, Heidi Ho, best seat in the house, and I've got to give it up. Apologies, he can't make it. I'm sorry to hear that, Liam, because it's going to be a great show, a great book, but he can't wait to catch the rewind. Comic versus the World. Can I have Liam's seat? Actually, never mind. I'm off to read Snot Girl Volume 2 instead. Oh dear.
Thanks for joining.
They made a Volume 2. Goodness. Connie Dalton's here. Evening party people.
Hi.
We have Blue Sonics and hey guys. And Kev is here as well. Evening all. So, like I said, Batman: The Long Halloween. That's the book we read. I suppose it's synopsis time. And to be honest, I haven't prepared nothing, so now to think on my feet here to think what the book was about. Essentially, it starts off on Halloween. There's a murder, and it drags on for the whole year. This investigation, and what this killer is doing, he's been dubbed the holiday killer. He kills people on holidays, Christmas, New Year's, Halloween, Valentine's Day, and he's even a special mention for St. Patrick's Day. Fantastic. Loved that. So yeah, basically you've got Batman, you've got Jim Gordon, you've got Harvey Dent, who are obviously working on this together, but it very much focuses on the Carmine Falcone mafia mob family and the issues he has as well with Salvatore Maroni. And we find out who's causing all these murders, and everyone's accusing everyone else, and it's a fantastic story and a great detective investigation book. I loved it, really loved it. But these guys might have had different thoughts. We good to start. Scott, do you want to?
Yeah.
Kick off.
This was a cool read, isn't it? I do like a bit of a whodunit kind of story. It was cool, and this was actually a lot easier to read than I thought, because when you find out that we're going to be reading something that's 13 issues when we got a week to read it all, I was a bit what's the word, apprehensive about it. But the first issue was quite long. It's like a double issue, isn't it? But then every issue after that was quite quick. I mean, to put it in perspective, I think I read something the other night. It took me half an hour to read 3 issues, and I didn't feel like I was rushing at all. But yeah, it was a really cool book. I did have issues here and there with like faces and the way that some things were drawn and designed. But overall, I thought it was a really quick. It was a good page turner. It was paced really well in terms of it was quick to read, but I didn't feel like anything or anyone was rushed.
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's because of the the fact it is 13 issues long, and I did write something. I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, it was actually, I thought it was good for me, the fact that it was quick to read because it was 13 issues long. But then I was trying to think how much that would have maybe sucked for people wanting to read more when it was coming out, whether it was weekly or monthly, because it took me 10 minutes to read one. So you read one, you're waiting ages, going, yes, can't wait for the next one. Oh, it's done, So it swings and roundabouts. I liked it, but, when it was coming out, then maybe not.
It was super quick. I think we all kind of agree, because 13 issues, like I say, on paper seems a lot. When you're trying to fit in between your own reads as well during the week, and then you think, get this done for Wednesday. But it was a breeze, I thought, to be quite honest.
Through it.
You're right, the first issue was longer, but it's every issue after that. It's just, I felt like it ended too soon. If that's a legitimate gripe to have, that these books end too soon.
Yeah.
Shane?
Same as Scott, I really enjoy a whodunit murder mystery. I love the detective part of Batman. For me, if you take some action out of a book to give a bit more of the detective side to him, I'm very happy. I like watching him just be intelligent and not have to rely on his fists and skills all the time, but his mind. I really like that. So I really enjoyed those parts of this book. One of my notes is, because I don't want you to think I wasn't bored reading this book, but I was distracted quite a lot when they kept introducing characters like the Joker and Mad Hatter and Riddler, and some of them played more of a part than others. Some of them just seemed to be there just because it's a Batman book and you needed to get some of his villains in. I think for me, if he had just focused a bit more on the holiday stuff, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and the art it's blocky, but the colors and the shades were fantastic. The shadows, I love every shadow on every page. It was just done so well.
I was a big fan of the mood vibe. There was a lot of mood in this, like a lot of shadows, a lot of darkness, and stuff like that. And I just loved it. I do have a few examples if Phil, you will permit me to show them.
You have my permission.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. So here's the first one. Just that kind of, it's all the shadows in it. That's what's giving me that kind of moody vibe. So like, that bottom right panel there where Jim Gordon is just standing there against the blinds and you just see his silhouette, and you can just see a slight bit of Batman there. And then this one later on in the book where Harvey is brooding at the fridge, and everything is just, it's supposed to be a fun scenario, isn't it? But everything is just dark and moody, and I just kind of love that vibe whenever we got it throughout the book.
Yeah, because there was another panel which I haven't got here, guys, but whenever Thomas Wayne is doing surgery on Falcone on his dinner table, and you can see Bruce, the shadow of little Bruce Wayne on the staircase. And they've done the whole shadow thing in general through the whole book, fantastic. And it's one of those things. If this was a vibrant book, I don't think it would work. I think the story and the art kind of matched in a way. Like it was a I think
if it was in the daytime and all vibrant and sunny or whatever, then it would just totally juxtapose against Batman himself, isn't it? Because he's not a sunshine and rainbows kind of guy, is he?
Yeah.
So it would put everyone off.
That actually just reminds me, if you recall, we read the Daredevil, the one he was in San Francisco, and it was very much in the sun, daylight, and it didn't really suit, Daredevil. So it's the same thing with Batman, I suppose. It wouldn't really suit his character if it was during the sunny days. But I did kind of touch on the mood as well. And Chris from off my shelves has joined us here. He says Tim Sale and his big panel saving time for all. And I think that's one of the notes it's one of the notes I have, that there's a lot of negative space in panels. Sometimes you have a panel to Batman's head with like nothing beside it, and then you'll have Gordon's head with nothing beside it. I just think that kind of allows for that mood as well, where it's like you just imagine like a cinematic kind of view where it's just like going from one person to the other, like slowly, and kind of like say presenting that kind of mood as well, I think. Got some comments here from Connie. She says she really liked the book, but I think my issue with Batman books is Bruce Wayne. I don't think I like Bruce very much, but the story was great. I thought we were friends, Connie. I really did. The faces were a massive issue for me in this book. I didn't hate the art, but some of the faces were a bit funky, especially the Joker's.
Yes, his
Joker's.
teeth were like this long.
Well, I have a panel here which I'll show. So it's whenever Batman jumps in towards the end, starts beating them up. So he hits them with a knuckle duster, and I believe
Oh,
it's
yeah.
this one. And you just see how long his teeth are getting smashed in.
Jaw.
It's just like I
Yeah.
don't know. It's hard to explain what's going on really because no one has teeth like that, nor do they have that many teeth. You know.
Yeah.
But I think obviously that's an artistic decision they've made in terms of like if you think of the Joker, you'd kind of do think like a pointy chin, like a pointy jaw in general. Like for all books and the animated series, he has a big jaw,
Yeah.
and I think that's one of the decisions they've made with this book is to kind of overemphasize some of the features. You know, like even Batman's ears look pointier than normal. You know, Scarecrow looked like skinnier, lankier legs than normal. It's I think they're trying to overemphasize some of the features with the art.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Art Deco means, but it just sounds really good. Maybe it's a very Art Deco kind of thing. I don't know. Is that right? Art Deco?
Dick.
Not sure.
No. Oh, okay. No. Sounded
There
good.
there is another issue I had with the art, and it started on the cover of issue 1. It's that I don't think the artist knows how far a human head can tilt. On the cover of issue 1, Batman's head is literally at like 90 degrees.
Oh,
It's
wow.
just, and they do it to Catwoman in the book as well. There's one scene where she's like jumping out of a building and her body's contorted, but her head is just this way on her body. Like just like her ear would be where her neck is. And I was like, I mean, I know it's a small gripe, but it's very noticeable when you see things like that in comic books when the
Yeah,
human body
natively.
moves. Yeah, like the
Yeah,
human body needs to move a specific way.
there was one bit I noticed when like I can't remember how far in the book it was, but it was Catwoman, and when she was like, going away into the distance, and she was only about this big in the panel, but like her right leg seemed like double the length of the rest of her, and I was like, what the hell is that? Like, yeah, there was some little anatomical discrepancies, we should say, I think there, going on here and there in the book, but I don't know if that was intended. The style doesn't seem to be very anatomically correct considering how many teeth Joker has.
I mean, maybe he does legitimately have that many teeth. I mean, he keeps getting knocked out, so he's like get fake ones put in. So I thought,
Yeah.
just throw some more in there because I'm going to lose them anyway. Connie's saying here, none of the characters look the same panel to panel. I think the only characters who were consistent throughout the book was Gilda Dent and Solomon Grundy. It didn't ruin the book, but it was noticeable. And to be fair, I think that's true. Like things like the Joker and even Two-Face to an extent. I think Batman again, just the cowl, I suppose, really. But then maybe that's the shadows kind of made that look different each panel.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so it could have been that. But overall, do you want to have a look at our pages then and see what we thought of them? Because we've got quite a lot to get through. Because as usual, you guys have sent us
Yeah.
loads in. Shall we do the viewers
can I-
ones first? Or?
Can I bring up one more thing, maybe?
Yeah, sure.
About the art.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favourite little things in this was, I don't know what to call it, just I've written down the Sin City vibe, where it was all black and white, and then you get the splashes of colour here and there when people were murdered by Holiday. That was so cool. I think the most noticeable one was obviously the one where he was in the bath. Can't remember who that was. He was in the bath and everything. The whole bath water was just red. And then you've got, it basically, wasn't it,
The
like
nephew.
every item that was left that was in colour, but everything else was grey, and I just thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, because that was
I
every
agree.
issue. Every time somebody died, that was at the end of
Yeah.
every issue, wasn't it? Just Chris from Off My Shelves is saying, not quite right, Philip. That's my obviously Art Deco. I'm just trying to sound smart. Just he does say good star for trying. He says Seal, like many comic book artists, consider themselves cartoonists, and so naturally do caricatures, which emphasize certain features unrealistically. And that's true. I mean, you mentioned kind of like the anatomy, like Spider-Man, for example, is constantly getting his legs tangled around his other 6 legs. Or doesn't have to always look perfect, but yeah, it does. And Connie Dalton has said, "Do not get me started on Selena Kyle." We will see what you thought of Selena Kyle in a second, because she did message me about that. Tottenham Gaming has joined us. Yes, he's asking, is it the viewers pick this week? Yes, at the end of the show, you get the pick. So just take an hour off work, Tottenham Gaming, and have your say. So shall we go into some of the pages, guys? Will we do the viewer stuff first?
Nah, let's do ours first.
Ours?
Yeah.
Okay, well, where's Shane? Okay, Shane, here's yours.
Speaking of the pages Scott was
Sin
talking
City
about,
vibe, yeah.
these were my favourite pages in the book. So I had like all of them, and I had to choose one of them. So I went for the one with the most dead bodies. No, I just really liked all of them, like from the snow globe at Christmas to the Father's Day tie, just that tiny little pop of colour. Because they could have made the blood red as well and like gone overboard, but they just kept it black and white. And I like this page. I know it's just a bunch of dead guys around a Thanksgiving dinner, but I just think it's done so well. Like the way they're grabbing at the tablecloth, and I really, really liked I could have picked any of them, and I pretty much just randomly picked one before we went live because they're all fantastic. And if you haven't read the book and you just want to know what it's like Google Long Halloween death panels, and it will show you all of them because they're just so good. Spoilers.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, I love that, how they just colour some little bits here and there, and it just makes it pop, and you just notice it so much. And yeah, it's a really good style. Really like that.
Yeah, the cornucopia on the table next to the gun is just it's so well done. I
have one gripe with this image though, and something I thought about at the time. Why does the tablecloth have so many ripples and wrinkles on it? That's just me.
Maybe it's silk.
Maybe it's just the design of the tablecloth.
That's possible. That's possible, I suppose. Yeah. I will go with my other page. I picked 2 pages this week, and it's similar stance. It's the kind of Sin City vibe. This is the image where Harvey Two-Face kills Falcone, and again, the only thing that's in color is the blood of Falcone, so he shoots him in the head. But I just quite like this because this is like you have all the Batman's rogues gallery lying on the floor after getting beat to a pulp by Batman. This is a cool image, and again, you kind of suspect it's going to happen at this point in the book. He's going to kill him, and then obviously he does, and he's just sitting there in a pool of his own blood. Poor guy.
Yeah, he's a bad guy, so meh.
Scott. Oh, nice.
So this is where Bruce Wayne is under control from Poison Ivy, and Catwoman's basically had enough and decides to intervene. But this is my favourite page for 2 reasons. One, Poison Ivy was my favourite character design in this entire story. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, really loved it. And 2, I really, as soon as I turned the page to get to this, I could really feel the kind of motion in Catwoman, like the kind of force and strength she was going at Poison Ivy with, and I think that helps with the fact that you got the wrinkling of the tablecloth, and you got the candlesticks flying back, and is that like an ice tray or whatever's above Bruce's head? It's all just, I just love the motion of it, and it's all just really fast paced and just strong. Really like that.
Yeah, it's an appropriate amount of wrinkles on a tablecloth.
You must have learned from the last one.
No, that is really cool. I mean, to be fair, I had problems with the Catwoman design. The costume and the boots, the collars, no problem, but the headgear really put me off. I don't know what it is. It's the big massive ears. I didn't like the headgear. Is that me being a bit odd that? Because
I love this so much. I have the action figure of this. I had to buy it. Obviously it's gorgeous. I think I like her with the larger ears. Like, it reminds me more of a cat than the tiny little things she has normally. Yeah. But the thing that puts me off, the thing that I don't like about her costume, she's a cat burglar who's all sneaky, and she's got 3 bangles on each wrist that just rattle when she moves. It's like, it's not very stealthy, is it?
Stealthy and fashionable. She's just trying to do. Well, that is Selena Kyle in her full Catwoman garb. There's an image here of Selena Kyle not in her Catwoman garb. And
so this is from Liam. Liam sent this, and he has called it Selena Kildemort. Because he said it resembles Voldemort quite strongly.
She actually looks like Michael Jackson.
She does. The other kind of person that you all seen Tangled, haven't you, from the Disney movie about Rapunzel and so on? And this looks like the mum, or the mum in quotation marks, just like Gothel, and it does. So yeah, it's not my Catwoman, to be fair. It doesn't look like any Catwoman I would like to read about, to be honest. Like I would have thought you had more thoughts on this, to be honest.
I like the character design of Catwoman. I didn't like Selena Kyle.
Okay.
I don't like the character design of Selena Kyle. She just looks too sturdy.
Like too robust.
Yeah, she needs to be a bit more athletic. She's more of a gymnast, isn't she? She needs a gymnast body, like someone who you would believe could backflip through a window. She looks like her shoulders would get stuck.
She does look like she's making those gains, doesn't she?
She does.
Yeah. Here, listen. Is Lee sent to you here, Scott?
So that wasn't Lee's favourite page. This is Lee's favourite page.
Yeah, this is so cool. So cool.
And he did, I think, his reason purely for this page was, I'm a sucker for anything Batman versus Joker.
Mm-hmm.
This was nearly my pick as well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, feel like snow, so that's why it was nearly Phil's pick.
To be fair, even this whole scene was a bit silly. Like, they were fighting on top of like a crop duster plane. Like, it's so stupid and silly, but brilliant at the same time. And again,
this is one of the parts that was distracting me. It was taking away from the whodunit murder mystery, and it was just, it's another Batman book. This was one of my problems.
To be fair, I'll agree with you to an extent. Like, the Joker was there, and he wanted to know who the Holiday Killer was because, like, he seen him as like a rival, almost. But it was a wee bit unnecessary. Like, it didn't really add anything to the story. The Joker disappeared for 6 or 7 issues, and then reappeared at the end. So, I agree. Maybe these things were a bit of a distraction, but I suppose they had to fit everyone in. Like I say, had to get all the Rogues Gallery in. Connie,
did they?
But it's
did they need the Rogues Gallery? Did the Rogues Gallery are in every other Batman book? You could have given them a break and just focused on the Holiday Killer.
Maybe the reason why they're there is because if they weren't in the book, then everyone would suspect the killer could be one of those. But the killer wasn't the usual Rogues Gallery. It was someone different entirely. So if you didn't have the Joker there, for example, looking for him, everyone's going to assume it's the Joker. Maybe that's the reason. But I do agree it did make a bit of a distraction. Connie sent us another Joker image, which I thought, again, was fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good one. So Connie said here, she said she spent the entire book until this point thinking, where's the Joker? And then she thinks they brought him in a really funny kind of way, and she just liked the colours. She has struggled with the faces throughout the book, so she thinks that it also helped that she wasn't seeing his face in this image.
Yeah,
fair.
But then you're left with those really awkward, like, long, lanky legs as well. The whole kind of body shape's a bit odd, to be honest, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a cool image.
But then you've got Batman who's got muscles on muscles on muscles.
A bit like me, to be honest.
True.
Kev also sent these. He picked the same image as myself. Did he have anything to say about?
Yeah, he said he really liked the grayscale used for the holiday murders with the splash of red. This splash page really sums up Harvey's fall as well. It's a strong image with all of Batman's foes defeated and at the feet of Gotham's new big bad guy, Two-Face.
Nice. Oh, it is quite symbolic. I never thought of that. Well done.
Yeah,
it's cool. I do have another image from Kev, but I'll show that at the end. That's
okay.
Special. It's a special one. Adam from Comic Bound sent us two. This is the first. Just bear with me 1 second. He basically describes how this perfectly captures the feeling of being stuck in traffic on a miserable day.
Nope, that was the last.
There we go. Nope. This is what happens when someone else is in control. Go ahead. Go ahead, Shane. What did he say about this page then?
He says, perfectly captures the feeling. No, but you did. You put it.
Anyway, this looks really good. As this is from the first issue, I believe. This picture here, where it's like Batman and Jim and Harvey are all like kind of discussing and agreeing that they're gonna go after the holiday murder, and then you've got quite a juxtaposing picture later on. Then,
Yeah. With the second page. So Adam says, "Love how these 2 pages from the first and last issue bookend the series."
Nice. It would have been nice if that was in the private chat for me to say, but sure. Oh dear, folks, live TV. What do you want to do? Okay, so I think that's the only image. The only image left is Kev's. Is that right? There's nothing else outstanding.
Yep.
So Kev, I haven't got your Instagram handle here, but Kev is in the chat. He is on Instagram. He is an artiste himself, and he done this in preparation for this show.
So good.
Wow.
And he put it on his Instagram page, and I was like, "Send that to me. We will put it on the show." And I've put his Instagram link in the chat for everyone to go ahead and look at. Yeah, he does some fantastic stuff. If anyone wants any commissions from him, go ahead and ask, because they're great.
That was awesome.
Such a good picture.
Just catch up on some comments about the art before we move on to the story. Kev is saying that, yeah, Tim Sale is definitely a cartoonist. I think his art works really well. Everyone is recognizable, but I can understand how it can be a bit jarring. It definitely was, in my opinion. Not going to lie, though, Connie says, I didn't see the ending coming. My bets were on Falcone's daughter, who was also drawn really weirdly. You talk about robust women. She was a very robust woman. She would knock my pan in, that's for sure. She also says, I like the Valentine's one with the box of chocolates, and then Jim and Harvey brought their wives the same box too. I like the parallels of that. That's true, because they did present their wives with the same box of chocolates. Maybe there was an offer in like Tesco's or something. They had,
Got them Tesco.
And we have someone here, 4-color commentary. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. I love the visceral nature of Sale's work. It's passionate. And I can see that on here, to be fair. He does put a lot of effort and time and puts a bit more into the character design, especially the Rogues Gallery, in all fairness. And I think we are... Oh, no, we're not. Connie says, the legs bother me less.
The Joker.
Yeah. Joker, yes, okay. Kev is saying the Rogues Gallery were involved to show the change from classic mob bosses being the crime lords of Gotham to the supervillains being the new face of crime. And Mystery Knights Brown and Frank, yes, he's here. Saying hi, all. And Chris from Off My Shelves is calling me stunning. Thank you very much. I am growing my hair out, so it's good to hear that people actually appreciate that. So. Okay, that's a pick for later on. We'll get back to that. And that's all the comments. I'm up to date. Thank goodness. So, story-wise then, what do you guys think? We've commented how quick we thought it really was. Is that because it kept you interested the whole way through, or was it just less words?
I didn't read it all in one hit, but I wasn't like, I gotta carry on reading this now. I was enjoying it, but I did have the impression that this was going to be 13 issues based in Halloween. So I was quite confused why it's called the Long Halloween. It's just a whole year from Halloween to Halloween, and I think that's why. And another thing was, during the story, I wasn't really bothered about the Falcones versus the Maronis type thing. I know they were a big driving force for the whole story, but what was really grabbing me and interesting me about the book was, the fact that Batman couldn't really figure out what was going on, who was the holiday murderer, and the relationships again. Like we were talking about last week, just how was Jim Gordon, dealing with his relationship, just having a brand new baby, and then how was Harvey dealing with his relationship with Gilda, and the fact that they wanted to have a baby and grow as a family and stuff, and how this was just getting in the way. of their family dynamics, and yeah, I enjoyed that more rather than the politics of the Maronis and the Falcons.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the kind of parallels of Dent's relationship and of Jim Gordon's, it almost felt like Jim Gordon's, like they had the baby, and his wife's called, is his wife called Barbara too?
Yeah.
Right. Like they almost feel like a stronger knit couple, as opposed to Gilda and Harvey were maybe kind of drifting apart because they did want to have children, but it wasn't happening for them because they had this going on type of thing. Whereas Barbara was more kind of understanding of that, I suppose. But yeah, Shane, what do you think?
Yeah, like I say, anything where Batman's being a detective, I absolutely love, and I really enjoyed this. I love following the clues along, and every time there was a red herring, I'm like, but I thought I was sure, like just like Batman, I was like, I was sure it had to be that one, and I'm like, okay, so then I'm going through the list, I'm like, well, who could it be then? Who's left? And you just like whittle down the list as you go. Like I enjoy that. I enjoy a book where I'm following the character and I'm learning as they're learning, as opposed to they just already know everything and I'm catching up. I don't want to be catching up as I'm reading. I want to be reading along. And that's how I felt in this book. Like I was with Batman.
So did you at all think it was going to be who it was?
Spoilers.
To be fair, yeah, this is a big spoiler now, just in case for anyone who hasn't read it. Right. I think I'm still actually confused.
The ending is confusing, yeah.
As to who done it. So it was revealed.
There's 2 killers. So you had three? I had 2. I had Harvey's wife. Harvey's wife, who was doing all the killing, all the main killing, and then the son who was killing
Alberto.
just the mob people. Alberto, who was killing the mob people for his dad.
But then
so I had 2. Who was the third?
Then there was Harvey at the end, who had actually killed someone on the second Halloween.
And he left the coin, so he followed the MO of leaving the coin or leaving an item behind.
Oh yeah, I didn't count him though. I didn't personally count him because that happened. Yeah.
But then what Gilda said at the end really confused me. It made it sound like Alberto never killed anyone at all. Because it made it sound like she killed everyone up until they got to Alberto, and then Harvey took over. That's how it made it sound to me, and I was just really confused. Like I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but
it just wasn't as clear as it should have been.
It was how I interpreted it.
It definitely should have been clearer. Because I did think it was the wife, like pretty much straight away. As soon like there's a T on the gun, I'm like, oh, it's it's the wife because we're seeing her quite a lot. And then when Alberto's like, yeah, I'm the killer, and I'm like, I didn't see that coming. I was actually excited because I actually thought there was a twist that I didn't see coming. So I was like, oh, awesome.
Why would Gilda have a bottle nipple? Because she doesn't have a baby. It was Gordon and Barbara that had the baby and the balls.
Because she lost the baby.
Did they lose a baby?
And it was in Harvey Dent's notes. He took his work home. Remember, he had the gun on the bench where he's filing off the serial number. That's the thing. That there is a lot of confusion, and Kevin is saying here that it is very ambiguous. And I suppose it is in a way. They don't want you to know the definite killer. But my main confusion is this, right? So I actually thought differently from you, Sky. I thought Gilda thought that Harvey was the original killer, and she followed him after. Then Alberto took over. But then Alberto, like, he admitted to the murders. So why is he admitting to murders if he didn't do them all? Like he's not in cahoots with Gilda. They're not a team. They're just. Do you know what I mean? It's just weird that why does Alberto take the fall for every murder? Surely he would say though, like, I only killed this guy and that guy. I didn't kill the other 3.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't speak up.
Well, that's what his dad wanted him to do, isn't it? If you just say you murdered this one person, then I'll get you out of this, blah, blah, blah. And but then he said he did them all. So,
it is definitely, I think, purposely ambiguous. But there is a sequel to this, which I do think Gilda plays a part in as well. So maybe
the Long Christmas.
Yeah, maybe we do get more.
The even longer Halloween.
Yeah. Just catching up here. Dean has joined us again. What's up, gang? Hope you're all well. How's it going, Bob? Chris is confirming there was 3. Again, at least that's his interpretation that there's three. I think there's three as well. Connie is asking, I want to know how Alberto and Gilda were connected. Did they work together or as two separate holiday killers? This is what I don't understand myself. I don't think they were connected. And maybe that's why it's awkward. Chris is saying it does get clear on repeat reads, he thinks, first time. But first time I was like, who? Like, and even to be fair, Alberto doesn't seem like the most kind of like sinister like person. Like, I think I would squash him.
But his dad forgot his birthday.
Oh,
and that's what it was all about. Kid throwing toys out of pram because dad forgot birthday.
Honest, and I thought it was suspicious when the house exploded and Harvey seemed to not care. And to be fair, you thought he was dead at that point. He was he the first victim? He was the first.
Yeah.
But then obviously he didn't die, but they kind of made you believe he died. And then next thing he's been in this new house and his wife's in a wheelchair. He didn't seem to care. You're right. He didn't really seem to care. Yeah. Chris is saying it's just to bolster his reputation. Plus, he was actually mad. Yeah, I mean, I thought the end was very confusing, to be honest. I feel a bit underwhelmed with it, if I'm being honest.
Like, whilst we're reading a book, well, for me especially, I am kind of scoring it as I'm going along, and that kind of twist at the end, where Gilda is throwing everything into the fire to burn the evidence, kind of thing. That was like, I was like, what? And then that kind of did bump a score up for me. So I wouldn't say that underwhelmed me. It shocked me, but then it's confused me because of now we're having this conversation. Now, me and you, Phil, we think there were three people. Shane thought there were two. Chris thought there was three. I mean, maybe it was purposefully ambiguous. But I think because of that, because I still can't figure out quite what happened, that's why it's done better for me. I'm not too bothered about a clear answer. I'm just glad that we have some sort of answer, and now there's something that I can think on myself, which I like that. So,
and you have a reason to read on.
I won't though.
You might.
No,
we don't know yet. We might. For next week, we might.
Please, no.
Chris is saying that they weren't connected at all. One was copycatting the other. That's true. My Connie is saying as well, my issue is I never have time to reread because I have so many books to get through. Maybe I'll come back to this one eventually, though it was enjoyable enough to consider it. I don't think I will reread this, in all fairness. My issue with it too, like I read a lot of Batman books, and this doesn't even come close to my top 5, to be perfectly honest. And I'm a bit disappointed in a way because a lot of people really rate this book. I mean, if you think about it, this was source material for the Christopher Nolan movies as well. There's some stuff, there's so many little, it's more nods, I think. There's no actual kind of storylines taken from this for the Christopher Nolan stuff. But they're selling this book today as part of a box set to celebrate the new release of the movie, the Batman movie. So if that's the case, then they've got like a trilogy plus this new movie taken from this one book. Surely there's thousands of other Batman stories you could make a movie of. So this must be held in really high regard. And I don't feel like I have that. It's similar to Kingdom Come. I don't feel like I'm not at that point. But different to Kingdom Come, I don't think I'll reread this again.
I think
it's for me, we're not shouting at you enough. Is that why?
No.
No, I don't feel guilted into it this time.
I think I have the opposite opinion on this book that I've had with other books that we've read that have been quite long. When I say like, oh, maybe this would be better if I read it monthly. Like reading something all in one go sometimes can be a bit tiring.
Yeah.
I think if I was reading this monthly, I would have been really disappointed. Because of the distraction issues. Because I'm not going to say boring, because they're not boring, but they take away from the actual story that I'm interested in. So I would be quite annoyed if I picked up, say, issue 4, and I get like 2 pages of the story that I'm there for, and then I get 20 pages of this side bit with Joker. I would have been really, really annoyed. But because I knew I got to read on and I was going to finish a story, I think I have the opposite that I usually have with a long trade. So I'm glad I read it all in one go.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be a better read first time round as a trade. Like, I agree, if you're waiting for this monthly, and because it was so quick as well to get through each issue, that I would be a bit. Is that it? You know, we're no further on, because we weren't really, essentially, like, what, 8 issues were just like, you knew someone was going to die. Here's a new holiday. Someone's going to die, and then someone dies. And to be fair, the deaths weren't like, you know, overly dramatic. There were sometimes just Falcone's goons. There was no, you know, there was not like Alfred or something like that, or, you know, somebody big. It was just some random
We
thug.
almost got one, and they
Riddler.
wussed out, with the Riddler right at the end, didn't they? They wussed out, and it was just the outline being shot.
Yeah, but that was a cool image, though. That
it was
outline,
cool.
that was cool.
Yeah.
Dana's saying here he thinks that's the beauty of the book for him. Keeps you guessing and ties your brain up in knots with clues and parallels throughout.
I think he's nailed it on the head there. I think that's definitely what I was feeling throughout this, and that's something I enjoyed. So I think he's done well there.
Did you guys clock on? Like, who did you? I mean, how many times did you change your mind who you think done it?
Regularly, every issue.
Yeah.
But I never suspected Alberto to be involved, and like the first thing that made me think maybe it's Harvey was when they gave the Valentine's heart box of chocolates, only because the ribbons were different ways.
Oh.
On the one that Jim gave to Barbara and the one that Harvey gave to Gilda, but the one that Harvey gave to Gilda was the same as the one that was left by the body.
Ooh, nice catch.
So that was the first time where I was genuinely like, "Ooh, maybe it's Harvey," you know. And but apart from that, there was nothing else that jumped out at me really.
No, especially when Alberto went over the yacht. So
I've
it's
got
like,
no
well,
reason to think.
No.
Because I initially thought it was the sister, Carla Fide. Is that her name? And then I thought it was the daughter. Then I thought Harvey Dent. And then I thought Gilda. And then I was firmly, that was it. Until the last issue. Again, you kind of think it was her, and then it twists again, where it's definitely not her. But then obviously towards the end, she's burning all the clues and so on. So, but yeah, it's good though, because it does make you think. Where if you were set with some character the whole way throughout, then you might become a bit more bored.
You're just gonna be like, "Oh, just tell me it's Harvey. Just tell me it's Harvey. Like, hurry up!" Like, I know what you mean. So it is. I think it's necessary to have all those twists and turns and just things to confuse you throughout the story.
Yeah. And I really liked what they did when the Riddler was talking to Batman, and he's like, well, maybe it's Catwoman, and they were showing you like her do the killings, and then they showed the sister doing it like in the long trench coat and hat. I really like that.
You just reminded me of Calendar Man. Calendar Man.
Same.
And I quite like the
guy.
idea he would say things like, you know, he and she in the same sentence, you know, as if to say he knows it's not one person. That's not a fella or a girl. You know, it's two people. It's one of each type of thing. I quite like that. But then the clues are almost like there, I suppose, from the very start. When he first spoke to the Calendar Man, maybe he was giving us a clue from from then on. We just didn't catch on. But and he is an extremely creepy character, and I've never heard of the Calendar Man before. I mean, is he a big thing within the DC universe, Shane? I suppose you would know.
I mean, he's not big. He pops up now and then. His whole gimmick is days of the year. It's like, how many times can you use him?
365. Of an extra one every 4 years on top of that. Chris is saying, Scott, trust him. Dark Victory is worth jumping back in.
Is that the sequel? Is that the follow-on from this?
Yeah, that's the follow-on. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll trust Chris.
Dean is saying, agree with Scott there. The book ends up turning the reader into the detective to the point you're looking at each panel, scanning for clues. And that's true.
Yeah.
I was doing that, but I'm just not as clever.
I think it would be weird if nobody did that in this kind of book, where it was a murder mystery whodunit, and you know you're trying to find out at the same time as the characters in the story are as well. Like, you're gonna do that. You're gonna look for clues that maybe the artist had put in intentionally and stuff like that. It'd be weird if you didn't.
Kev is saying, imagine if it was Alfred, and I did suspect Alfred in one of the earlier issues. I
Never
suspected
suspect
Alfred. I did. Doing it so Master Bruce wouldn't have to be Batman anymore. I think he does something like that in another Elseworld story, and I did suspect Alfred for that reason. He wanted to bring an end to the Batman stuff,
Right.
but that would have lasted an issue or so. But, yeah.
There's a great story called Whatever Happened to the Crusader, where it turns out that Alfred is the Joker, and he's been the Joker so that Batman could feel more important and have a purpose. It's a very good little two-part story if you ever get a chance.
That sounds like it would mess with your head, wouldn't it?
Folks, I think that brings us to an end. We'll have to do the Herd's Choice, of course, so we don't want to waste too much time. Not waste. This is never a waste of time. This is the best hour. This is the best hour on the internet. And I think you'll find as well, we deserve a pat on the back because we didn't mention any spoilers for the movie. I've seen the movie, of course. Have you guys seen it?
No.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Nope.
I'm not going to say a thing. My lips are sealed. Just a few guys are jumping in just before we get to the scores, jumping in quite late. Jack Talks Comics. He said, I love the series. I need to watch the animated movies. I want to watch the animated movies. That's how I'll reread this book. I'll watch the animated movies.
You can class it as rereading.
Yeah, that's fair, isn't it? That's fair.
Just have the book on your lap and then just press play.
Yeah. On the book?
Yeah.
And Triple J saying, sorry I'm late. Love this book. Hope you all enjoyed it. We're about to find out. So, folks, if you've read this book, if you've read along this week, drop your scores into the chat. We will add them up, collate them, and get a little something going on, do a little bit of mathematical wizardry. Our detective, Scott, will be on the ball there, getting all your numbers.
Surely you'd be mathematician.
Come on, give me something. But yeah, we'll say take your scores and we'll include it with ours and see where this falls on the leaderboard. Scott, do you want to give yours first?
Yeah. Really good fun book. Like I said before, love a murder mystery. Kept me on my toes, kept me thinking all the way throughout. Kept the grey matter ticking over, which is important for me with a Batman book. I think something, there has to be that element of mystery in there. So it was really good to what I think a Batman book should be based on what I've read in the past. I think it was the art that did it for me more than anything. Apart from faces, I love the colours, I love the scenery. The massive splash pages were fantastic to look at. And everything was just a bit of a spectacle, and some of it felt quite cinematic, and it was just very cool. The story. There's nothing else for me to say about the story, but the fact I just really enjoyed the whole twists and turns. And there was a lot of characters in there, but I didn't feel like anything was too crammed and nothing was too rushed. I thought the pacing was brilliant. And overall, I think I would recommend this book to other people who want to jump into Batman and go, what should I read? What's important? And stuff like that. And this is definitely something you should go and read. And for all of those reasons and some more that I haven't said, I'm going to go ahead and give this an 8.
Ooh, nice. Shane gives it.
I really enjoyed the book as well. I know it's long. I know I complain about long books, and I wish that no one would pick the 13 issues for us to read in a week. But I did really enjoy this. I love trying to figure out in the book who did something at the same time as the characters, and I don't feel like behind the characters, which is just something that it's hard to do now. Because you read a book now, it seems like the characters already know what's happening and what's going on before you even open the book. So I really like that. The art's great. I know Scott said it. The faces. You know how I feel about comic book faces. I'm not a massive fan of the faces, but the shadows in this book are fantastic, and that takes away from like some of the lack of detail in the faces when they're half covered in shadow. So that's great. I really enjoyed it. I won't read it again, unfortunately. I might at some point pick up the sequel to see if it clarifies the ending for this for me. But I really enjoyed it. I like red herrings and stuff, and they got me. I really thought it was Alberto, like just him, and I thought they got me for like the first however many issues because I didn't think it was him. So overall, I did. It does have some parts in it that just distracted me. Again, not bored. You won't be bored reading this book, but I was distracted from the main story, and that did kind of annoy me at times. I was just like, get back to the story, stop punching the Joker and get back to what I want you to do. So for me, this is a 7.
Nice.
Correct.
We have got some scores coming in, which is good to see. So I will give mine, and I gives you guys about 20 seconds to get some last scores in. I agree with what Scott was saying in terms of like what Shane was saying too about the mystery aspect, the kind of whodunit, kind of leaving you wondering who it is. And again, each issue or each couple of issues, it kind of changes your mind, and it kind of keeps you invested in the book and keeps you like interacting with the book as such, and you want to read it to see what the clues are. For me, like the Batman, I think this is a direct sequel to Year One, so he's still quite amateurish, isn't he? Because he didn't seem as normal, assured Batman that I've grown to love. So I enjoyed that part because I think if he was, so quick off the mark, he would just solve it. He'd have it solved before it even happens. That's Batman. That's what he does. So I enjoyed that he was quite amateurish as well, and. Again, I quite like Jim Gordon. I like the idea that Jim Gordon, Dent, and Batman working together to take down the crime family. That's their main objective, I suppose. But then that's also a negative too, because I almost felt like the Holiday Killer was like a distraction to that, because they have bigger plans for Gotham with the crime families. I quite like the inclusion of Falcone and Maroni. It made it again street level, and you had that kind of mob mafia movie kind of feel to it as well, which I thought was really good. The art wasn't for me. I'll be brutally honest. Some of it I liked. I like the shadows, and you mentioned the mood and so on, Scott. I like that, but the art is just. I mean, it's no Kingdom Come. It's no Alex Ross art, and it's not as bad. It's just not for me. But the story was really good, so it is going to lose a lot of points for me on the art alone, unfortunately. I have this down as a 7.5. I don't think I could go any higher than that. I think it's in terms of my scoring system, it's level on par with Kingdom Come. So there we go. 7.5 from me. So I am going to go through some other scores. So if anyone wants to get their score in, you've got about 10 seconds right now. Connie, she has given it a 7.5. Jack Talks Comics has given it an 8. Kevin Wells has given it an 8. Triple G Comics has given it an 8. Chris, straight in there. This was a formative comic for me, so I give its cons a pass, go straight to a 10. Wow.
A 10.
Nice.
And Dean is an 8.5, a fantastic story that sees Batman in full-on detective mode. I love how the book includes the reader in that also. The noir vibe went on to inspire several movies, making this a must-read. That's true. It is a must-read. It's one of those books I think people do say you should kind of read. If you want to read Batman, read this. We do have another score. It's not in the chat, but was given to us by Adam. Have I got the right note here, Shane, this time? Yeah. So Adam from Comic Bound has said, stands amazingly well on its own, but also as a direct sequel to Batman Year One. Truly cinematic, and I love the Godfather mob story vibes. It's a 9 from him. And any other scores from anybody?
Yes,
Scott?
we do have one more from Lee. He said he wasn't really a fan of the art. It looked like it had been done mostly in Microsoft Paint. The main issue were the people and faces, but he liked Joker's look for the most part, like how he kept that grin. The story and writing were really enjoyable. Loved the mystery, although occasionally there would be a line that felt like it was forced in to remind the reader that they were reading a comic. And for all of that, he gives a 7.5.
Nice.
So all the scores are in. All of you guys watching now and the guys who sent in some scores earlier on, you average a total of 8.3. And then adding that on to Phil 7.5, Shane 7, and my 8, this book gets a grand total of 7.7.
Ooh.
Just
Nice.
like last week. Let's see how this goes on the leaderboard then.
Ooh.
So we now have 3 sixth places at 7.7. And then just for everyone else, you can see what the rest of the leaderboard looks like as well. There we go.
Nice.
And there we go.
I think that's fair. That's good. Right, folks, this is the time of the week, of the month, where you guys will decide what we are reading. Don't laugh. What we are reading next week. We have no idea. We have no preference. Pick what you like. Just kind of make sure it's not like too long. You know, something we can actually read in a week.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be Batman related. It can be if you wish. But, you know, have at it. Let us know what you guys are picking, and we will just try and talk amongst ourselves for a minute or two.
Don't forget, the winner of this will get fantastic swag, like Shane is demonstrating there. A book, a bookmark, and some stickers as well, all Nerd Herd Comic Book Club related as well. There we go. We've got the Cult of Pop. He's just joined in as well. He's asking if it can be current or old. It can be any story you want, as long as it's like 6 to 8 issues max.
And we haven't covered it already.
Yeah, and we haven't done it already. That'd be weird if we did it again.
Unless it's Kingdom Come and Phil wants to change his score.
No, no, not yet. Towards the end of the year, I will maybe have my score changed on that. But yeah, so I mean, obviously I've seen the movie. I think you guys, when are you guys going to see the movie? Any plans
Hopefully
this weekend?
next week.
Cool.
Maybe Friday.
I just want to know when I can talk about it. To be honest.
Oh, you can talk about it to me. It's fine. I don't care about spoilers.
Okay.
You can leave me out of that conversation. There we go. We get some pretty good picks.
Yeah.
Not all Batman related, so thank you very much for that.
There's a lovely Venom one in there. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Scott, JLA Tower of Babel is Batman heavy, I will just say.
But Babel or Babel? Or like...
Babel.
Potato. I can't even say it. Potato, tomato.
Babel. Right, I've got that one. Dino. Right.
So,
have we got them all? I think we've got them all. We do have some ones people couldn't make it tonight, so they asked for some to be put on. So we've got Beth. She's asked for self-storage again.
Shock.
Liam, he's asked for Batman Creature of the Night. Rich from Comics vs. the World has asked for Batman Damned. And we've got one of our podcast listeners, Russell. He has asked for Arkham Asylum as well. And we've got Cult of Pop, The Killer. And Jack as well. Okay. Was that Batman Earth 1, is it?
Yeah, well, I go through them just to double check we have them all. Okay, so this is the ones on the chat. Obviously, you have the other ones. Kevin Wells is picking Extremity, Volume 1 by Daniel Warren Johnson. Love Daniel Warren Johnson. Connie has The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. Chris has Batman Dark Victory. Triple G has JLA, Tower of Babel. Tottenham Gaming's Venom by Donny Cates, Volume 1. Dean has got Stray Dogs by Tony Fleece or Flex. Not sure. The Cult of Pop has The Killer by Matt. Probably a Netflix show. And Jack Talks Comics has Batman Earth 1. That's it. Cut off. That's it.
Great.
Yeah. Oh, what the hell? Should we count that one?
Oh,
just came in. Just
that's fine. That's fine.
So that's another vote for Venom, Volume 1
from Matt as well. Awesome. Okay, we're good to go.
We're good to go.
Right, here we go. Give us a few shuffles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good luck, everyone. What's it gonna be?
Something good. Something good.
Is it Liam? Liam has well done with Batman Creature of the Night. That's fantastic because every month he's like, God, I want to win so much. I want to join you guys. And he's actually not here this week, so it's going to be brilliant when he finds out later on. No one tell him.
Yeah, we'll not mention it. Let's see if he actually really watches to the end. You know, so we'll know then.
Yeah,
he doesn't watch it to the end.
He might just skip to the end. We won't know if he's watched the start.
This is true. It's like Cars About is the Herd's choice. But yeah, folks, that's what we're reading next week. Is Batman Creature of the Night. It's not a fix, Chris. This is Liam, who's obviously Scott's good pal. He will be invited to join us next week, of course, if he wishes to. So yeah, there's nothing else I need to discuss here. Scott, have you got anything come up in your channel?
Yes, we'll be doing the auction this weekend on Sunday. I did say 7:30 on the Instagram video I put up, but we've changed the time to 6 p.m. Because other things need to be done in the night as well. So yeah, we're going to be doing it 6 p.m. until about 7:30, and we will be supporting the British Ukrainian Aid charity in support of the whole mess that's going on right now. So yeah, we're just going to support them as much as we can by selling comics. So that's great. So join in on Sunday at 6:30 p.m.
Nice. Shane, do you have anything coming up anytime soon?
The latest quiz on my channel still has a live viewer competition. So if you head over and watch the latest quiz, Dawn of Comics Quiz Night 17, you can enter the viewer competition. Just send your answer to me on Instagram and you'll be in with a chance of winning a certificate and a prize.
Nice. Well, folks, that has been our show this week, Batman the Long Halloween. And to coincide with the movie release, and scored fairly high. So thanks everyone for joining us live. Thanks for everyone listening on the chat or listening on the podcast afterwards and watching the rewind. There's only one more thing to do. I'll just get your waves out, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Love you.